Caught on tape, the viral fallout from a fast food brawl.
Flushable wipes, a convenience that could turn into a problem.
Skate to success. An ice dancer helps teens go for the gold in life.
It's Friday, March 13th, 2015. Live from Columbia University in New York City, this is Columbia News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to Columbia News Tonight. I'm Andrew Johnson.
And I'm Greg Jackson. We begin tonight with a fallout from a brutal attack at McDonald's restaurant, all caught on camera and gone viral. A group of Brooklyn High School girls attacking classmate while onlookers stood by. But there's a twist to this story. The victim is not only refusing to cooperate with police, she's gone viral as well. We want to warn you, some of this footage is graphic. Renee Wunderlich has our story.
Bystanders look on as 4 high school girls repeatedly beat a 15-year-old female classmate. It's still not clear why. This video was posted on Facebook and went viral. So far, only one of the girls involved has been arrested. 16-year-old Anaya Ferguson will be charged as an adult with assault and stealing the victim's purse and cell phone. A judge has set bail for $500,000. The Daily News reports Ferguson's criminal record includes multiple violent crimes and a possible gang affiliation. Shortly after the video started circulating, the victim came forward. Ariana Taylor posted this picture of herself after the attack and responded to a still growing number of comments on her Facebook page. Police say Taylor is not cooperating with the investigation.
We weren't allowed to film inside. This is the McDonald's where the fight took place. And employees tell me that students come here all the time after school. However, community members are saying this is not the first fight to happen and may not be the last.
This particular incident is more than just, gang activity. It's a lot of immaturity, there are a lot of going back and forth, and in some other things that's taken place and what have you that the police are investigating. And I hope they get to the bottom of it because a lot more people can get hurt.
Both the suspect and the victim go to Erasmus Hall High School. A spokesperson for the high school said, quote, "The actions in the video are abhorrent and our primary concern right now is for the well-being of the student." Officials say investigations are ongoing into who else may be involved in the fight. In Brooklyn, Renee Wunderlich, Columbia News Tonight.
So why do we keep seeing these kinds of viral videos of teens behaving badly? An expert says it's nothing new. It's just captured on video now. Grace Lee tells us more.
The alarming clip from the McDonald's beating this week has been posted and reposted on various sites on the internet. With the emergence and growing popularity of YouTube, Instagram, and Vine, more and more adolescents are posting videos that show reckless and even dangerous behavior.
In adolescence, you have a period of great narcissism, risk-taking behavior, edgy behavior. So when these behaviors occur, the edginess of it is something that stimulates others. It's taken another step further and then another step further.
It's called copycatting, and it's most common in teens and preteens between the ages of 12 and 16. They see a certain type of behavior, model it, and replicate it. Take a look at this video. This teen is partaking in an internet phenomenon called the Snow Challenge, where kids jump into mounds of snow naked in an attempt to attract fans and followers.
I would suggest that this behavior transcends just this generation. What's different now is that we have modalities and technology that capture and memorialize the act. And in the past, that might have been a fleeting event, never to have been documented in any way.
And the audience for that tech grows more and more each day. Grace Lee, Columbia News Tonight.
While some New York City teachers are preparing for spring break, others have their sights set on Albany. Teachers across the city are protesting Governor Cuomo's new evaluation method. Reporter Lydia Hu is live at the Manhattan School for Children with the story. Lydia?
Teachers and students at this Manhattan school were about one of 100 groups across the city to protest Governor Cuomo's educational policy. They are concerned about tying teacher evaluations to student performance.
Home. This is my second home away from home, and I love it.
Surrounded by her peers and teachers, high school senior Mia Mapp addressed Governor Cuomo.
Governor Cuomo, I had to ask you a question. Why are you making children feel less than because they don't pass your standards?
Teachers and students of City as School are against Governor Cuomo's standardized testing policy announced at his State of the State in January.
Our education system needs dramatic reform, and it has for years.
The governor spoke about troubling findings, like the 178 failing schools throughout New York State, the 17 schools that have been failing for over a decade, and that over 250,000 students have attended these failing schools. But just how the governor proposes to reform schools is controversial.
Firstly, the governor feels strongly about the value of standardized testing, which brings us to the second issue, and that is accountability. He wants every teacher to be evaluated on the basis of student growth as measured primarily by the standardized test.
Meet with teachers.
The governor wants to base 50% of teacher evaluations on student standardized test scores. Administrators and teachers are concerned. But supporters of the governor's plan say it is time to put students first. In response to our request for comment, Students First New York says, Governor Cuomo's opportunity agenda will benefit children tremendously. The governor's policies would ensure we recruit and retain high-performing teachers, that we don't give lifetime jobs to teachers who are not effective, and that we can remove low performers from classrooms, and that the interests of students are put first. On Thursday afternoon, protesters at City as School marched down Carmine Street to Washington Square Park. They said they chanted loud enough to be heard in Albany. We were at the protest yesterday at City as School, and we observed about 100 students with signs and noisemakers. The protests continued today through Brooklyn. Andrew, back to you.
Thanks, Lydia. What's next for Governor Cuomo's plan?
Well, experts are telling me that they can't quite predict whether this measure is going to pass, but a vote is expected on April 1st. We're going to stay on top of this and provide updates.
Thank you, Lydia. Last week, Mayor de Blasio announced the addition of 2 Muslim holidays to the school calendar, but one group is very upset that their holiday was not included. Shannon Louis-Brand has the story.
Here. And we won't stop until we get it done. Thank you.
A few dozen Asian Americans gathered on the steps of City Hall this afternoon, asking Mayor de Blasio to recognize the Lunar New Year, celebrated by hundreds of millions of Asians around the world.
In the current school calendar that's available online and publicly, Lunar New Year is planned to be a school day. That shouldn't be.
This year, Lunar New Year fell during winter recess, but next year it won't. It will fall on a school day, Monday, February 8th.
I had to go to school because, if I didn't go to school, then, marked on the attendance, it affects, our grades.
New York City public schools have closed for major Jewish and Christian holidays for years. By law, the total number of school days required in New York State is 180 days. Usually, 182 days are budgeted just in case of snow days. Another holiday added to the calendar may require taking away vacation days.
Kids don't even get a chance to celebrate with their families. So if Lunar New Year becomes a holiday, they get to learn their traditions and customs. Because right now, they're forced to go to school because, they don't want to miss anything.
This has left students and parents with a tough choice. Miss school for the holiday or go to school and miss out on the celebration.
But when they're small, I used to say, don't go to school on the Chinese New Year.
The mayor's office says it is reviewing whether or not Lunar New Year will be included on the calendar for 2016. So for now, Asian Americans here in New York City will have to wait to see if the Year of the Monkey will really bring good fortune. Shannon Louis-Brand, Columbia News Tonight.
1 year after the tragic East Harlem explosion, local organizations took the time to honor and remember those who were lost in the tragic devastating accident, and to make sure it won't happen again. Tatiana Alienko has the story.
Carol Johnson came to the memorial today to remember her colleague who she lost a year ago. Griselda Camacho was one of the 8 people who died in East Harlem building explosion.
Always helpful, very, very pleasant person, always smiling, Whatever we needed her to do, she did it pleasantly.
Carol Johnson was one of the first respondents who came to help and support the survivors.
The first thing I saw when I got here, I guess, was mortuary trucks. So I knew that there had been some, fatality.
Since the explosion, Con Edison developed a new program to help residents respond faster to gas leaks.
Done a public campaign called Smell Gas, Act Fast. And we're emphasizing to the public to please notify us or 911 immediately about even a hint of a gas odor.
The Red Cross also educates people on evacuation procedures and overall safe practices in case of emergency. In Washington Heights in East Harlem, there have been a large number of home fires over the last few years. Today, the Red Cross is giving out the fire alarms like this to those who need it to prevent tragic incidents like what happened last year in East Harlem.
Being prepared is key, to preventing it from happening like this, but also being prepared to minimize the effects of it.
Están dando un servicio gratuitamente.
Janet Perez says that she is grateful for this new program and is happy to have a fire alarm for her safety and her home protection. Tatiana Ilyenko, Columbia News Tonight.
Coming up, the latest on ISIS, disturbing new numbers on the death toll of the Syrian civil war, and a light at the end of the tunnel for victims of Hurricane Sandy. In Iraq, the army, with help from Shiite militias, is moving closer to total control of Tikrit. But as ISIS falls back from Tikrit, other members of the terrorist group are attacking parts of the Anbar province, a predominantly Sunni area. Today, they blew up an army base, killing 40 soldiers while attacking the city of Ramadi. This Sunday marks the 4th anniversary of the start of the Syrian civil war. The London-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights just released the shocking numbers of those tortured and killed in Bashar al-Assad's prisons. Nearly 13,000 adults and 108 children are among the dead. 200,000 remain in prison. More than 6.5 million people have been displaced by this conflict.
March is Women's History Month. There are activities throughout the world. This week, Hillary Clinton addressed a working group at the United Nations. But that's not the only thing that's happening here in New York. Justin Morton joins us now with more.
Thank you, Greg. This past Thursday, women from various African countries came together in New York City to exchange ideas on how to tackle domestic violence. Thousands of people rallied outside of the United Nations to protest violence against women and support equal rights. Joan Koomson, who works with the Women's Research Team who conducted a 30-country study in Africa on the impact of domestic violence, says it's a universal issue for all women.
And there is still a high level of acceptance of gender-based violence globally. And so I feel that the issues that came out in the research could almost could be applicable to women in the U.S.
Many victims of domestic violence are too afraid to ask for help, but there are some here in the U.S. who have broken their silence.
I just remember him sitting on top of me and crossing my arms over my chest so that I couldn't get free. And instead of punching me, he headbutted me over and over and over again.
Across New York City, domestic violence declined slightly by less than 1% last year. However, the Bronx, Manhattan, and Staten Island saw an increase. Governor Andrew Cuomo has directed $6.2 million in federal aid to focus on helping victims secure housing, medical services, and careers. Hilda Tadria knows that domestic violence can have a far-reaching impact.
But I know that from my information that young women in New York City also have challenges with early pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, school dropout. And I believe that the information that we give to young girls in Uganda is equally relevant.
Hilda also says men, as well as women, should be educated on these issues. Whether in Africa or at home here in the U.S., she believes women who face domestic violence must stand together. Greg?
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate that report.
Long-suffering Sandy victims may finally get some relief. FEMA has finally agreed to review the insurance claims of homeowners who believe their post-storm compensation was unfair. The investigation could affect 144,000 people in New York and New Jersey. Many homeowners say insurance companies did not pay them enough money to rebuild their homes after the 2012 storm. Some victims say they received letters from FEMA asking them to pay the agency back extra relief money. The senators of New York and New Jersey helped put this deal together after several meetings with FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate. Senator Robert Menendez says this decision is, quote, a significant turnaround for people who were victimized by the storm, FEMA and the insurance companies. 2,200 cases surrounding Sandy relief claims are now in court.
Coming up, a new Ebola patient enters U.S. soil, was checked into the National Institute of Health's hospital near Washington, D.C. And Irish Americans are frustrated with Mayor Bill de Blasio's inclusion as St. Patrick's Day nears. An American healthcare worker contracted Ebola while volunteering in Sierra Leone arrived at National Institute of Health near Washington this morning. The patient's name, age, and gender were not released. The patient is the 11th person with Ebola to be treated in the U.S.
Tonight's Focus Report centers on Mayor Bill de Blasio's strained relationship with many in New York City's Irish American community. St. Patrick's Day is next Tuesday, and for the second straight year, it appears that the mayor will not be marching in the big parade. And as Valerie Edwards reports, that's not the only problem.
Many shops and pubs are decorated for St. Patrick's Day all around New York City. And while this is exciting for most Irish Americans, it reminds others of the strained relationship between the Irish American community and the mayor. The problems began when the mayor pledged to eliminate the horse and carriage business from Central Park, a business largely owned and operated by the Irish. Maddie is one of many horses who could be out of a job if Mayor de Blasio continues with his initiative to end the New York City horse carriage industry.
You know, he's really angered a lot of people, not just in my business, but in the police department and fire department and different things.
The mayor has also proposed big changes in a traditionally Irish neighborhood.
He's attempting to take over the Sunnyside Yards and put in 70,000 units of affordable housing and stuff like that. So that would be the equivalent of putting like over 100,000 people in like a 3-block radius and of an Irish community that doesn't sit very well.
But the biggest source of contention has been over the mayor's refusal to march down Fifth Avenue in the St. Patrick's Day parade, a decision held by some.
Mayor de Blasio stood up last year in his first year as mayor and said, I am not marching in the, he marches in all the parades. He said, I'm not marching on Fifth Avenue if LGBT people are excluded.
This year, an LGBT group has been invited to march, but the mayor says that's not enough. He still won't march. This past weekend brought more controversy when the mayor showed up 30 minutes late for a St. Patrick's parade in Queens. While the mayor says that he doesn't plan to be among the 200,000 marching down Fifth Avenue next Tuesday, there's still an outside chance that he may, if a last-minute compromise can be reached. When asked today if the mayor would be marching, his press office would only say, no comment.
Thank you, Valerie. New York City's underground sewage system is confronting an issue that's plaguing many cities around the world: flushable wipes. The city has spent more than $18 million in the past 5 years to have them processed and removed. Linda Zhang has the story in tonight's Consumer Report.
Every single day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Anthony Hughes runs a plumbing business. He says 60 to 70% of the time, he is called to clear out residential waste pipes clogged with wipes.
I've seen everything from Clorox wipes to flushable wipes, Cottonelle flushable wipes, to baby wipes.
In recent years, adults and babies alike have seized upon moist wipes as a convenient alternative to toilet paper. These wipes may go down the drain, but they are not going away. It is wipes everywhere at the Newtown Creek water treatment plant. These bar screens are built to remove plastic bottles and tin cans.
But increasingly, as you can see, most of the material we now remove in screening is wipes. And that just is because of the growth or the boom in the flushable wipes market. So in 2008, we were removing about 50,000 cubic feet per month of screened materials. We now remove 110,000 cubic feet per month of screened material. So over the last 6 or 7 years, we've more than doubled the amount of material that gets pulled off of the bar screens. And as you can see, the vast majority is now wipes.
That is almost 1,600 dumpsters. Some city lawmakers are trying to ban manufacturers from advertising their wipes as flushable if they do not pass independent testing.
110% false advertisement.
But INDA, a trade group representing wipe manufacturers, says, not so fast.
Wipes that are designed to be flushed and pass the INDA guidelines for assessing flushability are not the problem being confronted by the wastewater system. The problem is caused by the inappropriate flushing of non-flushable products.
While the bill works its way through the legislature, consumers are encouraged to dispose wipes into trash cans or consider alternative methods. After speaking to several environmental advocates, we learned that alternatives are easier than we thought. One way is to mix coconut oil, body wash, and some water. And you can spray the solution on a piece of cloth or toilet paper to use at home and on the go. Andrew, back to you.
Thank you, Linda.
It's not every day that you get the president to listen to your beef with him, let alone have him read it out loud for the world to hear. On last night's Jimmy Kimmel Live, President Obama faced the nation's complaints, one mean tweet at a time.
Is there any way we could fly Obama to some golf course halfway around the world and just leave him there? Well, RW is surfer girl. I think that's a great idea. Somebody send Obama some life hacks on how to be a good president. Ha ha. Like I bet that would help. LOL. You know, the LOL is redundant when you have the ha-ha.
It's safe to say Twitter users didn't cut the president any slack.
Coming up on Columbia News tonight, looking for a way to up your fashion game? Well, we have some sneakers for you. We'll tell you how much it will cost to be the talk of the town. If you think Air Jordans are expensive, you won't believe how much these kicks cost. Apples Therapy says their therapeutic shoes relieve your back, knee, and joint pain, but at the steep price of $5,000. And even if you have the $5,000 to spend on these sneakers, you first have to go through a consultation with a physical therapist. The kicker? None of this is covered by insurance.
Studies show that students who participate in after-school activities perform better in the classroom. Our New Yorker of the Week is teaching valuable lessons to girls in Harlem by getting them on the ice.
When school lets out, 250 Harlem girls come to Riverbank Ice Rink to learn spins, spirals, and synchronized skating moves. They are a part of an after-school program called Figure Skating in Harlem. Sharon Cohen started figure skating in Harlem after hearing about a group of girls who wanted to learn how to skate after school.
I saw the interest in the girls and how excited they were to be on the ice. And I also saw what it was doing for them. They were gaining confidence, they were learning about discipline and about concentration and focus. And I thought, it's doing a lot more than just teaching ice skating.
Over the years, more than 800 girls have come through the program. They practice Monday through Friday after school, with members of the synchronized skating team also practicing at 6 a.m. Monday mornings. Here at Figure Skating in Harlem, Sharon Cohen and her staff work hard to teach girls skills on the ice. But it's what's learned off the ice that really counts.
Skating's the hook. Skating was what gets them through the door. It's also a new opportunity. It's a very expensive sport, so it's opening up a new door. But much more than that, we make sure that education's the main focus.
In addition to skating lessons, the girls participate in a program called ICE, I Can Excel. In order to remain in good standing, the girls must maintain at least a B+ average in their core subjects, and also participate in enrichment programs focused on career and character development. The most important piece of advice?
To tell us if we fall, get back up and never give up.
Well, skating's really hard. It's not an easy thing to do. So If you want to stand up, you kind of have to be very present, and you're naturally going to make mistakes and fall down, so it's how fast you get back up. And I think that's a lesson that they learn physically, but it also transmits into other aspects of life.
One former skater credits her success to Sharon.
Sharon has always been a role model to me. She's always looked at me and just knew I can always be better. She's pushed me and would never give up on me.
It's the best job. It's a fantastic job. It's so gratifying to see the young girls come in and change and grow and see them off into the world.
Meredith McGraw, Columbia News Tonight.
Just ahead on Columbia News Tonight, the Flight of the Phoenix. We'll tell you about the artwork that's been in the big draw at St. John's Divine. That's about to take off. Today marks the second anniversary of Pope Francis's election. His popularity remains at an all-time high, with 9 out of 10 U.S. Catholics approving of his leadership. In an interview earlier today, the Pope mentioned that he missed his freedom occasionally, particularly getting pizza in the streets.
This weekend, New Yorkers say goodbye to the Phoenix, two monumental birds created by an internationally acclaimed Chinese artist. The mythical pair has been housed at St. John the Divine Cathedral for more than a year now. In this week's Morningside Report, Kinsley Amayo tells us if you want to see them, you better hurry.
2 days from now, these magnificent sculptures will be moving from the nave of the cathedral. The Phoenix, made from scrap metals, construction debris, and LED lights, was created by Zhu Bing. The cathedral gets nearly 1 million visitors every year, but that number has increased by 15% since the exhibition started.
I think it's really cool to see kind of the colors of the Phoenix, the two Phoenix sculptures, how they kind of play with the stained glass in the cathedral. It's very visually appealing.
The birds, Feng, the male, and Huang, the female, are regarded as one entity. Both weighs more than 12 tons. For many New Yorkers, this Phoenix might be a beautiful work of art, but for East Asians, they represent an interconnection between history, labor, and the accumulation of wealth in China today.
Xu Bing's work is a tribute to the migrant workers in China. This work is important because such a gigantic installation can also be so moving to ordinary viewers.
Liu said seeing the Phoenix in the largest Gothic cathedral in the world has brought the exhibit a new quality.
The birds, and especially the metal pieces, construction debris, all of a sudden acquired a sacred quality. Gives this work a new significance.
With the arts board here.
And it's been a tremendous success for the cathedral.
We've had more and more people coming in to see and experience the Phoenixes, and then in so doing, discovering the cathedral and all of the richness it has to offer.
Reverend Whitmore has grown accustomed to seeing the Phoenix daily.
I don't get tired of looking at them. You know, when they came in, we thought, oh, these could get old. After a year, they have not gotten old. It's going to be sad to see it go.
As the exhibition nears its close, New Yorkers have one last weekend to see the Phoenix before they take flight. Kingsley Amayo, Columbia News Tonight.
That's Columbia News Tonight for this week. I'm Andrew Johnson.
And I'm Greg Jackson. Good night.